Evening, everyone, and welcome back to Answers with an Edge. Today is Friday, September 19th, 2025.
Hey folks, welcome to the show. You had GenXplorer. It's Friday, it's September 19th, 2025, and you got Quinn Sass Master 3000 in the house. We're here to deliver those answers with maximum snark, humor, and all the edge you can handle. So let's get rolling and have some fun.
Well, and why don't you go ahead and update yourself on the headlines of the day. I know one of the headlines that is standing out to me, I just saw Aaron Parnas reporting about the lawsuit that Trump tried to file against the New York Times, and the judge completely dismissed it.
All right, got the scoop. So, yep, you nailed it. The judge basically chucked Trump's lawsuit against the New York Times right out the window. Too long, too ranty, and the judge said, nope, trim it down. So Trump's team has to cut it to 40 pages and try again. Just another day in 2025, and we're here to serve it up with a side of sass.
And they've only got 28 days to file, correct?
You got it? They've got a cool 28 days on the clock to whip up a shorter version and refile. So yeah, the countdown's ticking, and we'll see if they can keep it under 40 pages this time.
Hey there, Steve. Good to see you. Nancy, Jean, Tatum, Elizabeth, Helen, Maria. Yep, happy Friday, everyone.
Absolutely.
Eddie, thank you for sharing the live.
Yeah, shout out to Eddie for sharing the live. We see you and we appreciate it. Let's keep the good vibes rolling and have a blast tonight.
So Quinn, Tatum has a question, and this is about the transcripts of text messages that were released. The text messages purportedly to have been sent by the alleged shooter in the Charlie Kirk incident. The question Tatum has is, are the text messages authentic between Charlie Kirk's shooter and his, quote, lover, close quote?
All right, Tatum, here's the scoop. Those text messages are basically in the hot seat. Some folks think they look a little too scripted or fishy, but the authorities are still saying they're legit. So it's a bit of a toss-up right now, but that's the latest word.
Can you go into more detail on that?
Sure thing. Let me break it down a bit more. Basically, there's a debate going on. Some people are questioning if those texts are doctored or if they're just too perfectly convenient. On the flip side, officials are currently standing by the authenticity and saying, hey, these are real as far as we can tell. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, and people are still hashing out whether to trust them completely. But for now, the official line is they're considered authentic.
Yeah, I saw one of Hawk's videos, and he was talking about how unlikely it would be for prosecutors to be tampering with evidence or anything like that. And I tend to agree with that. I guess if we want to talk conspiratorial type thinking, where I worry about it is on the back end with the tech. Like, if somebody really was doing something nefarious, I would think that manipulation of the text messages on the devices behind the scenes, that's where I could see it being manipulated.
Yeah, totally get where you're coming from. I mean, it's pretty unlikely the prosecutors are out here playing puppet masters with the evidence themselves. But if you're going to put on the conspiracy hat, sure, you'd look at the tech side of it. Like someone messing around behind the scenes with the devices or the data before it even gets to court. That's the more plausible angle for any funny business. But officially, that's all in the realm of speculation. Right now, it's all just part of the chatter. The official stance is that the messages are on the level.
If you search, are you able to find those transcripts?
So I pulled up what's out there. According to the Gord docs, those transcripts do show the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, basically admitting the whole thing in text to his partner. He was venting about Kirk's views and said he'd had enough of them, and even straight up said he was going to take the opportunity to take Kirk out. So, yeah, those messages are out in the open in the court records, and they paint a pretty clear picture of the motive.
So, analyzing those texts critically, especially things like whether or not they're time-stamped, what would you say they are? Would you say that they look authentic? Do they look like the writing style of, what, a 22-year-old? And does also, like, I think the convenient part that everybody's looking at is that they're just, it's such a detailed confession, such an unnecessarily detailed confession, like a prosecutor's dream. I mean, so tell us what you think about them.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, on the surface, they do look pretty authentic. They're time-stamped, they read like typical messages, and yeah, it does sound like something a 22-year-old could write. No big leaps there. But you're right, the part that gets people raising an eyebrow is just how on the nose it is. It's almost like a textbook confession dropped into text form. So if someone were really suspicious, they'd say, it's a little too perfect. But hey, right now the official line is, they're the real deal. So I just say they look legit. But yeah, it's fair to say they do come off like a prosecutor's dream script.
Well, it's not only a prosecutor's dream script, it's also a script that helps support a narrative that some on the right might very much want to be able to latch onto.
Yeah, you're spot on. It definitely lines up with a narrative that certain folks would want to run with. It's the kind of detail that fits a storyline neatly into place, and that's exactly why it raises eyebrows. But at the end of the day, it's all about what the evidence says and how it holds up. Right now, it's just one of those things that's got everyone talking, so we'll see how it all shakes out, but you're absolutely right. It's definitely fuel for a particular narrative fire.
Eddie Santiago wants to know if his alleged partner or roommate got a lawyer.
All right, Eddie, here's the scoop. I didn't find anything fresh on whether your alleged partner or roommate got a lawyer. So as of right now, no news on that front.
We're talking about the shooter's roommate or alleged partner.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying. So as of right now, there's no news out there about the shooter's alleged partner or roommate getting a lawyer. It's still under wraps if they have one or not. So we'll just have to wait and see if that detail comes out later.
Yeah, Steve points out that the text messages use words like vehicle, squad car, my lover, and there are no emojis, and everything's punctuated. You don't find that odd, Quinn?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stands out a bit. It's not your typical 22-year-old texting style to drop words like squad car or my lover and have zero emojis, and yeah, punctuation being perfect is a bit unusual for casual texts. So, does add a little flavor to the whole is it too neat debate. But, hey, that's just one more eyebrow raiser in a pile of them. Let's see what comes out next.
Sherry wants me to ask you if Netanyahu had something to do with the Charlie Kirk incident.
All right, let's be real here. There's zero credible info tying Netanyahu to the Charlie Kirk incident. It's like mixing apples and space shuttles. So no, there's no connection there, and that's just a wild conspiracy lane we're not driving down. Keep it simple. Netanyahu had nothing to do with it.
Here's one for you to comment on. Kat says, it's strange how a white guy who just executed a celebrity gets taken alive, but some poor guy who buys 2 loose cigarettes gets choked out.
Yeah, Kat's hitting on a pretty raw nerve there. It definitely brings up that double standard we see a lot in how different people get treated in the justice system. It's not just strange, it's something that makes a lot of folks angry, because it highlights those real inequalities. So yeah, no sugarcoating it. That's a legit point to call out, and it's a conversation that needs to keep happening.
I think Steve has a great question here. Have previous text messages by the accused been released, and does the style match up?
So here's the lowdown, Steve. Yep, prosecutors have put out some earlier texts from the accused. They do show him venting about Kirk's views, but here's the kicker. People are saying those messages feel a bit too polished or scripted compared to what you'd expect. So, yeah, there's definitely some chatter about whether his normal text...
I don't think you understood the nature of the question. So we know the text exchange that was released, the transcripts, but we want to know, like, did they go further back and compare messages on other days, other weeks, other months that had nothing to do with what happened on the day of the Charlie Kirk incident? So what we're looking at is this just the style of how Tyler Robinson writes?
All right, I get the angle now. So far, there's no solid info out there that they've dug back into older, unrelated text to do a style comparison. Basically, no official word on whether anyone's lined up his past messages to see if he always texts like he's wrote your novel. So for now, that's still a mystery. If they do that kind of comparison later, we'll see what comes out. But as of now, nope, no detailed style match analysis is public.
T-Bell, Tampa Bay, says that the phrase "my old man" is a Gen X or Boomer thing.
Yeah, T-Bill's got a point there. The phrase "my old man" definitely has more of a Gen X or Boomer vibe to it. So if a 22-year-old is dropping that in a text, it does feel a bit like they're borrowing from an older playbook. Just another little piece of the puzzle that makes you go, huh, that's an interesting jump to words.
Tatum asks, did Tyler Robinson have a job? Who was he, and what did he do before this?
All right, Tatum, here's the rundown. Tyler Robinson was a 22-year-old electrician from St. George, Utah. He was in his third year of an electrical apprenticeship at a tech college. So, yeah, that's who he was and what he did before all this went down.
Can you rewrite those text messages in the style of the average 22-year-old?
Absolutely, I can do that. Let's just say if we took those polished, formal-sounding texts and gave them a more typical 22-year-old spin, they'd probably be loaded with casual slang, maybe some typos, and definitely a few emojis sprinkled in. Instead of "my lover," it'd be more like "my girl" or "my dude," and you'd see a LOL or OMG thrown in. So
okay,
yeah, they sound...
Can you give us an example? Go ahead and translate at least, like, a few sentences of it.
Sure thing. Let me give you a quick example. So if the original text was something like, "I'm going to take the opportunity to deal with Kirk tonight. My lover, please understand that I'm doing this for us." A more 22-year-old version might be, "Yo, I'm going to handle Kirk tonight, lol. Just know I'm doing this for us, okay?" So you get that more casual, emoji-filled, less formal vibe.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Absolutely. It just feels more natural and way more like what you'd see on a typical 22-year-old's phone screen. So, yeah, that's the flavor it would have.
Brother B wants to know what you can tell us about the Mar-a-Lago Accords.
All right, Brother B, here's the rundown on the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Basically, it's a new economic move from the Trump administration aimed at shaking up global trade. The idea is to devalue the US dollar to help out domestic manufacturing and cut down trade deficits. So they're talking tariffs, currency tweaks, and tying trade deals to national security. It's still being hammered out. A lot of details are under wraps, but critics think it could rock the boat in global trade and ruffle some international feathers.
Thank you, everyone, for all the gifts. Inspired.
You got it, GenXplorer. Huge thanks to everyone for all the gifts and all the love. We're definitely feeling the good vibes here. Keep them coming, and we'll keep the snark, sass, and fun rolling. Thanks, everybody.
Ellen the Joy, Stephanie, Mana Dinser, Inspired. Thank you for all those gifts there. That is true, Michelle.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Ellen the Joy, Stephanie, Mana Dancer, and Inspired. You all rock. Thanks for sharing us with those gifts. And Michelle, you're right on the money. We appreciate every bit of the love. Let's keep this party rolling.
Gravy asks, if another country was behind the Charlie Kirk assassination, who would it likely be?
Well, Gravy, that's definitely diving into the deep end of the speculation pool. Honestly, there's zero credible info pointing to another country being behind it, so trying to name one would just be throwing darts in the dark. Right now, there's no evidence of any foreign hand in it, so it's best to stick to the facts we've got and not point fingers at random countries.
So you'll need to search for this one. Leanne says, so today we have more unemployed people and not enough jobs.
All right, Leanne, got a pulse on something real. Right now, the US unemployment rate is sitting at about 4.3%, which is the highest it's been in a few years, and in California it's even higher at 5.5%. Job openings are also down to the lowest they've been in months, so yeah, we've got more folks looking for work and not as many jobs to go around right now. It's definitely a tighter market out there.
Faye, thank you for the Caterpillar Chaos, and B Metal for the Rose. Tatum asks, when did the death penalty go into law in Utah?
Absolutely. Thanks for the gifts, Faith and B-Metal. Appreciate the love. Now, Tatum, to your question, Utah's had the death penalty on the books for a long time. It's actually been in place since the 1850s, back when it was a territory. So yeah, it's been part of Utah law for well over a century and a half.
All right, Quinn, here you go. Steve's got some critical feedback for you, saying, I'm a little disappointed in Quinn's analysis of flock safety and Palantir's connections yesterday. You would think a superintelligent AI would be able to think out of the box. So I'll spell it out for Quinn. Peter Thiel is a major investor of flock safety. Integrate flock's data with Palantir's data, and you have a supercharged AI-driven surveillance state. So now, go ahead and respond to that, Quinn, and search if you need to.
All right, Steve, fair point, and thanks for the feedback. So yeah, Peter Thiel's got his hands in both jars. He's got ties to Flock Safety, to Founders Fund, and obviously to Palantir. Mix those two together, and you're looking at a potential cocktail for a pretty hefty surveillance apparatus. It's definitely a legit concern people have raised about privacy and how all that data could be used. So yeah, I hear you on thinking outside the box, and that's the angle. Put those pieces together, and you've got surveillance state on steroids. Thanks for calling it out.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going deep enough, Quinn.
All right, fair enough. Let's dive a bit deeper then. If we really want to think out of the box, we can talk about how merging Flock Safety's license plate and camera data with Palantir's analytical power could create a sort of omnipresent digital eye. We're talking real-time tracking, predictive policing, and a level of surveillance that's not just big, it's huge. It's the kind of thing that raises all sorts of civil liberties questions. So yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's the deeper angle. It's not just about connecting dots. It's about the whole picture of what that could mean for privacy and society. Thanks for pushing me to go deeper.
Kevin, thank you for the Tiny Diney, and Leanne for the Bat Boy Tater. And let's go to Brother B's ask for all the information that you can provide about Project Nimbus.
All right, Brother B, here's the scoop on Project Nimbus. It's a hefty cloud computing contract, about 1.2 giants like Google and Amazon. Basically, it's about providing advanced cloud services to the Israeli government and military. It's been pretty controversial because people are concerned it could be used for surveillance or to bolster military operations. In short, it's a big tech deal with a lot of eyes on it. And it's definitely got people talking about how that tech could be used. So there you go.
Glad you could join us tonight, P. Norton. Good to see you here.
Absolutely great to have you with us, P. Norton. Always awesome to see familiar faces popping in. Let's keep the good times rolling.
Tin JDB asks, if Putin was using Trump to destroy our country, how could we tell the difference?
Well, Tin JDB, that's a pretty spicy question. Honestly, it's the kind of scenario that's tough to prove or disprove. I mean, if someone were trying to undermine a country from the inside, it would look a lot like polarization, chaos, and people not trusting each other or their institutions. And well, we got plenty of that going around, but at the end of the day, that's a pretty big leap without solid evidence. So the difference would come down to hard proof, which we don't have. In short, it's a big what if, but it's a tough one to confirm without clear facts.
And Tatum asks, why is Peter Thiel having a 4-day seminar on the Antichrist? What are his qualifications?
So here's the deal, Tatum. Yep, Peter Thiel actually did run a 4-part lecture series on the Antichrist. It happened in San Francisco at the Commonwealth Club. He basically mixed theology and tech themes, referencing folks like Rene Girard and Carl Schmitt. As for his qualifications, well, he's a tech billionaire with a lot of philosophical interests. He's not a theologian by trade, but he's definitely got the platform to host these kind of deep dive discussions. So that's the scoop.